In 1968, sanitation workers in Memphis took to the streets with a basic message, I am a man, literally saying, I'm a human being, see me as a human being. We like to think we're beyond that. But protesters today simply saying Black Lives Matter, aren't they saying the same thing? Please notice the humanity. And so absolutely we need good judges, we need good prosecutors, we need good police, we need people to make the system less cruel. But to transform the system, we need advocates to make sure those who have been otherized have voices that are heard. There's an African proverb that says, until the lion learns to write, the story will always glorify the hunter. Some people in our history have always been preyed upon. They haven't had a voice. Their story hasn't been told, and so instead, their story is defined by others in the prevailing criminal justice narrative. I love public defenders. I think we could do all the reforms we want if there aren't public defenders to make sure that some people, a small group of people, aren't cheating. Cheating will happen. If there aren't public defenders to remind those who want to do right the humanity of the people who they judge, we won't have justice. But most importantly, I believe, is with an army of public defenders, collectively, we can start to change the way we think about poor people and who they are. We can take the story of the thief and make it the story of the father who loves one thing in the world more than anything else, and that's his little baby girl, who has worked every odd job he could find to make things right, and who, through no fault of his own, had nowhere else to turn but to steal a sandwich. When that narrative changes, we'll be ready to talk about real equal justice. I'm going to end with this. There are people desperately reaching out for help all over America. And I believe there are three kinds of lawyers in this world. There are those who have decided to go into law firms, and before you know it, they're making a lot of money. They're living in high-rise buildings. They drive to work. They park underground. It becomes easy to forget that these hands exist. And so you go on blissfully ignorant of the real injustice in the world. There's a second group, and those are folks who have come to embrace a narrative that says these hands belong to demons. And they make it their mission to make sure these hands are kept away from us. And then there's a smaller group. And that's a group that says, when I see that hand, I'm going to reach out, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to try to help it. I might not succeed, but I know that there's value in that person knowing someone held that hand when they were at their toughest time in life. If you do that as a lawyer, you've done more than most lawyers would do in a career. The public defenders in the room, you do that every day. Thank you. But more than that, collectively, you will hold that hand and remind us as a society that these are people, that we must treat them as people. And if we're in a courtroom as a judge, as a prosecutor, as a defender, and we see someone being treated in a way that we would not tolerate for our own children or our own loved ones, we will not participate. Then we will have equal justice.